And we should say at this point, spoilers ahead, we may spoil some. We're definitely going to spoil at least one thing from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So if you
Much like the
haven't seen
Clone
it,
Wars, if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, just go watch it.
yes, absolutely. And I think we just might as well get right into it since we did that spoiler warning. And like the second main question I wanted to ask is, so in the Mandalorian season 2, at the very end,
There's a thing that happens.
there's a thing that happens. Spoiler warning again. Luke
It is a
Skywalker.
freaking awesome thing.
Yes. Digitally made Luke Skywalker with the magic of technology. A young Luke Skywalker picks up Grogu, right? Is that his name?
Grogu with a G.
Not Grogu like Goku and Grogu mixed together. But he might as well be a Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah, there was a scene where he basically was when they were on that planet, and then the Dark Troopers showed up and took him. When he was on that rock, and he was basically Dragon Ball powering up at that point.
Yes. So to get Grogu's training, he's training with a Jedi, and he ends up having Luke Skywalker pick him up in this kind of epic surprise at the end of The Mandalorian. And it brings me to the question, does Star Wars always need a Skywalker in the story? Do they lean too heavily on the Skywalker saga? Will they ever kind of move away from it? I know that's a loaded question, but
yeah,
let's start with, do they always need to include a Skywalker? And was that an element that disappointed you? I keep loading it. I'm loading it up, baby. Go
I know.
ahead.
You just want you say you're gonna do one part, and then you throw three at me. Oh my god!
All these curveballs. Do they always need a Skywalker, Keith? Answer me.
I think the answer is it's yes, but no. And hear me out on this one, where especially when they're talking about the Star Wars timeline, there's a certain point in the timeline where eventually you're gonna hit a ceiling, right? Like if it's during the Empire, once the stakes get high enough, you're gonna run into Vader, right? Like it's something that happened in the game Jedi Fallen Order, which I guess we're gonna spoil here as well, where you're going on this whole quest, and then you're collecting things from you're collecting holocrons from the Jedi Temple that were lost, and it has like a list of younglings on there that the Empire's trying to get their hands on because it's like the next generation of Jedi, right? So you're doing good on your quest. You think you're about to accomplish it, and then all of a sudden, boom, Vader shows up, and you're done. So from that angle, I feel like if you don't if you don't include the Skywalkers, you can only have the stakes so high at a point. And it's the same thing with the end of The Mandalorian there, right? Like if there's one person in the era of Star Wars that they're trying to tell a story in that is going to be able to properly teach Grogu, who is it? It's Luke Skywalker, the guy that's the last Jedi, who is the return of the Jedi. Of course he's going to teach Grogu. So to have him show up, I think it adds a certain weight to it. And then the way that they did it, I think, was just so expertly done. Like it is a replica of my favorite scene from Rogue One. They kind of mirrored the hallway scene between Luke and Vader. And it was just so freaking cool, and I loved it. But yeah, if you don't have a impactful enough story, well then yeah, you're not going to have that level where you run into these characters like your Luke Skywalkers, like your Darth Vaders, like your Han Solos. If you're telling a story in the Galactic Republic era, like in the Clone Wars, then you're not going to run into your Anakins and your Obi-Wans or your Jedi. So you're almost, by excluding the Star Wars, like these galaxy legends, basically, these galactic legends, then you're only setting yourself up for a certain level. And then I think at that point, the only way around it is you either have to go before the movies or after the movies. And they haven't really touched after the end of Rise of Skywalker yet. And it's really the only option you have.
Now, sorry, my dog is flipping out. If anyone can
That's
hear
okay.
that.
Shout out to Pug Henry.
Yeah, he's not having a good day, apparently. So, yes, basically, if you want to go to that global scale of conflict, like you said, but I don't think The Mandalorian necessarily needed to do that. Now, do I think that what they did with Luke Skywalker was like egregious or, they shouldn't have done it? I think it's fine. We'll see if season 3, how much they go to the well with that. But my guess is they'll keep
that will be interesting.
Yeah, my guess is that they're going to keep it pretty minimal. And I think that's the right way to go, because it seems like Disney keeps going to that well of, hey, remember the original trilogy? And what I actually appreciate about The Mandalorian is it seems like that they weren't really going there. So it actually was a little bit disappointing to me that they kind of did go there. But I think the way that they did it,
but even if it was just for like a season finale, like it, in my opinion, and I mean, I am not writing The Mandalorian, so take it with a grain of salt, but I feel like that's done now, right? Because Grogu is with Luke. Now you are moving on to the next thing. Like, you're done with the Jedi part, and now you're moving on to something different with The Mandalorian. And I will be curious to see how they paint themselves out of that corner, because how is this thing that you are going to do now cooler than Luke Skywalker?
No, it's a good point. And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do next. They'll have to find something else interesting. Or, I mean, I just can't see them saying like Grogu's gone forever. Like, because Baby Yoda,
there's too much merchandise.
Yeah, Baby Yoda is got, he is money, and he's been making them a lot of money. So I would be shocked if this is the last we see of him.
Can I go on a quick side rant tangent? Sure. It's another reason why I dislike The Last Jedi a lot more now, because to me, knowing, like, just absorbing all of the Star Wars content, I think it makes that moment with Luke Skywalker a little worse, going to train Grogu, because we know where the story goes.
Yeah.
Because 40 years later, Kylo Ren comes along and kills all of Luke's students, right? So it's either Grogu got killed, or there's some BS answer about, oh, well, he wasn't at that Jedi temple, he didn't die.
That's the answer, Keith. You absolutely know.
I know, but it's the fact
Boba
that
Fett escapes the freaking Sarlacc pit, Grogu. Grogu's alive.
I know, but it just seems like, why did you burn the Jedi to the ground if you're going to create this new one a couple of years later?
Falls in a nuclear reactor and survives, Grogu's alive.
That's true.
If Darth Maul survives getting split in half and falling down a hole, Grogu's alive.
Maul is the one I will defend, because he was actually like super dead, but the Clone Wars did a good job
good thing
explaining
he turned
that.
into a spider.
He did turn into a machine spider, but the Night Sisters made him whole again, and it was cool.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the problem with Star Wars, is they do not commit to death at all. The only one they did a good job with was Obi-Wan. But True. Even then, I mean, I think Force Ghost is another thing, and hey, it's been there since the beginning, so it's all good in my eyes.
And coming next spring, Kenobi on Disney Plus.
Yep. But that's, I mean, at least it's before he died, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I would say that, they do lean a little too heavily. I think Mandalorian does the best job of not leaning too heavily on the whole Skywalker thing, but even still, we'll see. It's more of a wait and see approach. I was okay with the Luke cameo. I think it was a lot better than, I know you love your Darth Vader hallway scene, but I thought
it's so
Rogue One
good.
Darth Vader was just complete and utter fan service, and he really didn't really serve.
So do you feel the same way about the hallway scene from The Mandalorian then? Because it's the same thing. It's fan service, but it's good fan service.
But I think it's not as...
Instead of rebels, it's just dark troopers.
Yeah, I didn't find it as, like, I don't know. I mean, it's absolutely fan service. I just think it was done in a little bit more of like a tasteful way. I don't know. That's not the right word, but I just thought it wasn't as over the top. Like, yeah, Luke's kicking ass, but whatever. I mean, this is post Return of the Jedi Luke. We know that. But I don't know. It just felt to me like the hallway scene in Rogue One was just like, and it was added in. Like, it wasn't even supposed to be in the movie. Like,
And it was a better movie because of it.
well, I mean, you're a huge Star Wars nerd, so I get it. Like, when you're super into something, like those things, it's called fan service for a reason. It served you well.
It served me quite well, and I will not go, or I will not deny that. So before we wrap this up, I have a quick question for you, and because we're spoiling The Mandalorian, we might as well just go the full 9 yards. I'm curious if you picked up on something, because the Luke reveal wasn't really the only big reveal of that season. There was an episode about halfway through the season where the Mandalorian meets up with Ahsoka Tano, which is a big character from the Clone Wars, from Rebels, and not having that that love for it, was that a moment that felt big for you? And I have a follow-up to that.
I thought it was pretty cool because I was looking forward to it. I knew ahead of time, just based on spoilers from, you can't escape it on the internet, that she was going to show up. And like I said, I had watched some Clone Wars, so I was familiar with the character. I'm not as attached because I haven't seen like all of Clone Wars and some of the other content that she's in. But I was actually looking forward to that because I was interested to see like, oh, what is the live action approach? So I thought it was really cool. And it's also a character we've never seen show up in like the main movies. So it was really cool to see the live action version in Mandalorian.
So to that point, thank you for perfectly giving me that segue there. At the end of that episode, they allude to looking for someone, or that Ahsoka's main target is Grand Admiral Thrawn. And to me, somebody that loves the books and somebody that loves Rebels, that was a huge, like, oh shit moment for me. That is awesome. But not having that, like, did that mean anything to you, or was that just another name?
So the person that they fight in that episode?
No, like at the end, Ahsoka's like, tell me where your boss is. I'm looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, that meant nothing to me. I had no idea.
And see, that's so fascinating to me because to me, like, that's somebody that's deep in the Star Wars bubble. That was a huge reveal. Like that's something that got me excited for the Ahsoka series, because that means it inevitably leads to Thrawn, which is one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise. So it makes me wonder, because it's not something that I can answer myself, being so deep into Star Wars. Like, is it too layered these days with stuff like that? Like, is there so much Star Wars, whether it's good or bad, that they expect you to watch all of it to get the full picture? Very, very like MCU-like.
I feel like it's going to be, because maybe it's going to be actually MCU like in the way that you don't necessarily have to see every movie to enjoy it. But if you do see everything, you're going to appreciate things a little bit more. And I'm guessing that's the approach that they're going to do, where if you're the hardcore nerd, there's some stuff in there for you. But if you haven't seen everything, it's still going to be fine. You just may not get like the full appreciation that someone else might get. And it seems like that's the approach. But I don't know. She's getting her own series. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there was like a big dump of series that were announced late last year, and Ahsoka's one of them, along with like a Red Squadron one and a bunch of others.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about the oversaturation, because I think we saw a hint of that like when Solo came out and the box office numbers weren't.
Then there's like the
great.
Book of Boba Fett coming out this year.
Oh my God, I didn't even know about that either.
Yeah, it was like there was a teaser at the end of the Mandalorian season.
Oh.
He takes back Jabba's palace, and it's like the Book of Boba Fett coming out.
Oh my goodness. See, that sounds just like ultimate fan service. It's like everything we see in the movies, like every wait a second. How would they do Jabba's? Isn't Jabba dead?
Well, he is, but remember his lackey. I'm totally blanking on his name. It's the Yuwanawanga guy, the guy with the dick neck tail. he was in Jabba's palace, and he was all fat. And then Boba just came along, popped him, and he's like, "This is mine now." And then it was boom, the Book of Boba Fett coming next year.
How did I miss that? Oh my!
It was like an end credit scene. These have end credit scenes to them now, for God's sakes.
Jesus, it really is the MCU. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, see, all right, I think this sets up a future conversation about, is the fan service getting out of control? Because that to me just sounds like, it literally sounds like, someone in like 2003 wrote that on their like fanfic, like Boba Fett takes
Instead
back
of the
Jabba's
Book of
palace.
Boba Fett, it's the fanfic of Boba Fett.
I mean, if you think about it, this literally is, if it is becoming fanfic in some ways, because the people that are probably writing these are the kids that like grew up with this. So
100%, especially with like Dave Filoni stuff, because if you listen to an interview, like that is a guy that gets it, and that is a guy that watched Star Wars growing up.
Yeah, so again, as I said, I'd love to maybe in a year and a half, depending on when all these series come out.
Bad Batch coming out in May, and then we'll have the Book of Boba Fett.
There'll be a lot more content to talk about, and we'll see, how we still feeling about modern Star Wars. Is it oversaturated? But again, this will be an interesting conversation, and if you want to talk with us more about Star Wars, you can definitely continue the conversation over at our Discord at castofthepast.com/Discord. We talk about a variety of things, not just movies and TV shows, but video games, of course. It's one of the main topics we talk about on this show, and other things like food and just random games you picked up.
Movies, music, TV shows, anything you can think of. And if there isn't a channel for it there, just say, hey, make this channel. I want to talk about it. And boom, that channel will be made.
But yeah, make sure to also, if you're listening or watching on YouTube, leave a comment, like the video, and let us know, whether through Discord or comments, what about modern Star Wars do you like? And maybe what about modern Star Wars do you like not so much? But until next time, it's been another edition of A Cast
to the
Past.
Never forget, Ryan. Palpatine has a granddaughter. You know what that means.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing, and we are also available on podcast feeds, so search the name, click on the Sword and Stone, and enjoy a brand new episode every single Sunday.